This week's episode on the Electric Roadshow is all about Chai batteries and what they do. They are the #1 leading battery building company in the industry. So right now I'm headed to their headquarters and we're gonna pick their brain and see what's up. So let's see.
Our goal eventually is to basically reconvene. We might need a third facility before we can get the really big facility, but we want to take everything and put it back into one giant location.
Hell yeah.
We just keep running out of space. Okay, we're right here. Oh man, the brakes on this are strong right now. All right, so this is where everything gets manufactured. And this is where, the majority of our staff are.
Oh yeah. So you got what, 5 or 6 people over there at the other place, and then just everyone's here.
I think we have maybe 11 over there now.
Nice.
And then the rest of our guys over here.
Damn.
And so actually this kind of flows with the process of how everything is manufactured. So these are sticker machines.
Okay.
And it adds insulation rings to all of the cells. And so, these machines alone save hours and hours of labor.
No shit.
And they add these little insulation rings. So we just load them up in there. They run through. They get the stickers punched into them.
Oh yeah.
This is a cell sorter. This is actually pretty cool. So what it does is you kind of set the parameters of the machine and it measures the voltage and resistance of each cell. And primarily we can use this to check, to ensure that the cells are of a good quality. No when we're getting them, especially if we're ordering from a new supplier. But say we wanted to build power banks.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily always want to use the highest. You don't necessarily need to use the top of the line high discharge cells for that kind of stuff. So we can buy a different grade of cells, a lower grade, run them through this machine, and it'll basically sort them out, and we can use the way it sorts to actually build a better battery. That's the same. That's gonna behave the same and be just as good as a higher grade because we were able to match all the cells.
And the longevity is gonna be
oh no shit. Because we can find if the cells have in the batch have a different a lot of variance between them, we can make it so they reduce that variance. So this machine's actually really cool.
Wow.
So yeah, the cells they run through here, and these little arms just basically punch them down into the channel.
Wow. And then it basically, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then they're all measured. Come back around this side, they're all kind of probed right here.
Okay.
Because these will spin and take in the cells and put them on that line. And this is where the probing happens. So it knows which channel to sort them into.
I got all the batteries now. Oh yeah.
Here's where we have some of our batteries that are ready to go. Sur-on batteries. It's hard to make Sur-on batteries as fast as people want them.
Totally.
We're now at a point with our one-wheel batteries though over there that we actually have them in stock for our customers. This is our big workhorse. This is our nickel laser. We had it kind of custom put together. And so basically it works off an auto feed. So if you see, we put the roll of nickel here. As the sheets go, they pull back. And then all the pieces that fall off, they kind of retract. And this allows us to really run through the cut. We got to make sure to keep up with the rate that we're actually building. And if we saw those welders, if we have 4 guys on the welding belt, all the time. One battery could have, 6 different pieces of nickel, but needs different quantities of that piece of nickel. And so combining these sheets, so all of the sheets have the right amount of nickel that adds up to be the most efficient for manufacturing. It's a crazy amount of math in and of itself. Are we gonna run that other laser? On the rough, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's
running lasers.
So this, look at this guy. I mean, this is the bed size on this is
It's like 5x8 or something.
it can cut through
AR-500 plate.
AR-500 plates, which is like used for target practice, for like
No
pistols
shit.
and rifles. Yeah, it'll cut right through it.
No
You
shit.
can see these are like a disposable part.
This is kind of satisfying.
Crazy.
Yeah. And when you cut a part, you don't even have to deburr really. It's ready to go.
But yeah, that's kind of what we always do. I'll always just be like, they'll be like, hey, what showed up? I'm like, oh yeah, I bought a new machine. Sometimes they sit around, sometimes use them, but we usually end up using them. I'm a firm believer in owning assets, so you know, machines are.
Machines
are big with it. Yes. Yeah, we need more room for more machines.
Yeah. So, how did Chai Battery start?
So it started back in 2019, I think. I mean, really, it started like 7 years or 8 years ago. I was starting, like, okay, we'll go way back when I started in my parents' basement. When I still lived with my parents, I was always like a tinkerer. I was always in the basement. My parents like let me set up this like pretty big workshop, bigger than most people's workshops. And I started building electric mountain boards. Like that was kind of what ShredLights was way back in the day. Yeah. So we still have like old banners around.
Yeah, I saw one.
Yeah. So we used to be ShredLights, and that was reminiscent of like remember I told you used to do Trampa style mountain boards. That's what I used to do. So I was like a vendor with Trampa. I still might be.
No shit.
And I used to build the batteries and the drivetrain, and we do everything. You know, we get like as much pre-assembled as we could, and we assemble it. And then the highlight on the battery. The batteries were like a 12S7P, if I remember, in like a brick configuration, which at the time was absolutely massive.
Yeah.
No one was making batteries that big. It was really I remember it specifically being like, it was very groundbreaking. People were like, oh my God, that's like massive. It's like a 500 or 600 watt hour battery.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays people put like 3,000 watt hour batteries in skateboards. But yeah, I mean, at the time, absolutely a massive battery. And that got a lot of attention. And then, you know, they got a little bit popular. We sold a handful of them, maybe like 10 or 15, something like that.
Okay.
But then I, started thinking about it, and I realized I was doing 40 hours worth of work for one board. You know, it took me like a week or maybe even like a week and a half to finish one board. And I might make like a couple $100 off of it. You know, it was like, I was like, oh, okay. It's like, okay, this is starting now to become a job, and I'm not a very good job, at the same time. So then I started thinking about it. I saw a need in the market for custom batteries because people were just buying batteries, kind of haphazardly buying them on Amazon, or there were like not really any custom battery builders. People also were really just trying to build them on their own. So I said, hey, I'll just set up shop and just do batteries, because that worked a lot better. I mean, it was a lot more profit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I made more money doing that. And it was much easier than having to build the whole board. It's just like you only have to keep, 15 raw material, components in stock versus doing that. And I'd offer like 2 cell choices or whatever it was. So I did that kind of on the side for, I don't know, maybe like 5 years or so, something like that. And then I kind of just fizzled it out. I said, okay, like I think I'm done doing this for a while. I moved out at the time. I got married, and I just kind of started working a job. Actually, at that time, I got a job at a different electric skateboard company, but they went out of business, horribly mismanaged. Yeah. You might know Inertian. Yeah. Yeah, I used to work at Inertian. I used to do all their service department. Which was an absolute nightmare because we had like 0 resources. So pick and choose what you want to say out of this. But I don't mind.
They're extinct.
I'm not. They horribly managed, man. It was a nightmare. The owner actually threatened to sue me for $800,000. I remember. I was like, excuse you? Why?
Oh shit.
Because I worked for ShredLights at the time, and even though it was like a
Yeah.
it was craziness.
Yeah.
It was craziness. So then I just I was there for a year or two, I think, and then they died. Actually, they still owe me like a couple $1,000s in pay because they stopped paying their employees at the time. So then anyway, that happened, and I just worked like a local job in the area for like a friend of mine. He owns a furniture store, and I was like managing the business, a lot of the business for them for like a year or so. And then COVID hit around that time, or right before that, anyway. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, you know what? Like, I'm gonna take this BioBoards thing like real serious. And that's when I changed the name of Shy Battery Systems, and I hired, I think it was just my brother at the time, my younger brother. We were in my garage. We designed the CVXR.
Okay.
I designed the CVXR. And that just took off. I mean, that first year, we really started in like March of that year of 2020. I think I want to say 2020. And in that year, we sold like, I hate to say numbers, but it was like probably $800,000 and $900,000 worth. That was a great time. It was very interesting. We went very quickly from just like a garage shop to like seeing the opportunity in front of us. And I realized, like, well, the more we put into it, the more we get out of it. And there was like a very clear equation where, like, I can put this much in and we get this much out of it. And I'm talking about effort, I'm talking about resources, I'm talking about money. Like, we were just dumping everything back into it. That's when we bought our first laser. And that thing has just paid for itself 10 times over. It's awesome. But, yeah, that was, that's kind of brought us to where we are today, just a continuation of that.
So, like, basically 2.5 years?
Yeah, 2 years. I think we have only 2 years of tax filings.
And so you have this facility, the other facility.
Yeah. So we moved a couple times. So we started in my garage, which was just like a single car garage. So we moved from my garage to a 1,000 square foot office building, which 1,000 square feet is not that big. It's like the size of
probably
like the inside lobby. Yeah, it's like not that big. We would eat lunch at a place next door, like on our workstations. Like we'd be soldering and eating, like just push everything out there and like eat lunch. I'm not even kidding. It was like a bunch of us to do that. It was like maybe 3 or 4 of us at the time. That's when Wes started working with me. Wes started at that building, and Wes is like, I'll say I have 2 number 2s. Yeah. So we have number 2 and then number 2.
Number 2.
So no, that way no one's number 3. Yeah. But they run different parts of the business.
Totally,
so, that's when Wes started working with me. So Wes has been here longer than Brandon. And then we moved upstairs from that building to like a 25 or 3,000 square foot. I think it was a 2,500 square foot building, which was upstairs, which is super annoying. We were there for like 6 months. We'd be going
everything up.
Yeah, up and down, up and down. Yeah, and we were only in that 1,000 square foot for like 3 or 4 months too. It wasn't very long.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then we moved and we were there for like 5 or 6 months in the 2,500 square foot building.
Yeah, I remember. And
that's when Brendan started with me when we moved, and we shared an office because it wasn't very big. So Brendan worked with me at the 2,500.
And that's
I noticed that you have an office, but the lights are off because you're out in the shop working.
Yeah,
so what's up with that?
I mean, it's like nowadays, I can't even lie to you. It's like it's probably more in my office nowadays than I'm on the shop. Yeah. I'm upset to say that I don't go to our production facility as often as I would like.
Yeah. That place is awesome, dude.
These guys just do their job too good. I don't really need to intervene as much anymore. It's nice. Yeah. I mean, it's a dream of any business owner. I can kind of just be like, all right, well, let me know if there's problems, but otherwise you kind of just let me know what you guys need. I mean, that's what I feel like my job is providing you guys with the tools to do your job. So that's what I feel anyway. And then for me, my job is to not only provide those tools, but like look forward and what's next, like what are we working on, and that's why I actually work really closely. So Brandon manages all these employees and Wes manages our other employees, and I manage our engineering team. Okay. So that is the idea. I'm looking forward. I'm working with them on a daily basis for our new new designs and new projects that we're working on.
Do you have any new designs or projects you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean we do, but there's maybe some stuff we'll have to talk about. I don't know. I don't think we're ready to talk about the bike yet.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe. So. We are working on a vehicle.
Okay.
And I will say that we're working on a vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think
And everything's going to be in-house?
Everything's going to be in-house, just as usual. We're really good about, so we're always working around other companies' engineering. Like that work, Shy Batteries essentially like fitting a square peg in a hole. Yeah. So we see what Evolve does. Like I've taken apart almost all of Evolve's products, old and new. I've seen like Onyx, I've seen like Suron, very familiar with it. One Wheel, know it like the back of my hand, all their models. And so we feel like, and also from my background of working with an electric skateboard company and all this, I feel like we could do the PEV better, honestly. Okay. I think Shy Battery has what it takes to really kind of bring the PEV into like the next level. With kind of like a retro throwback too. So I'll say it should be something that not only like you might like sympathize with, or like you might recognize with, but so would your parents. Yeah, that's kind of the concept, like something for the mainstream.
So everyone would want one.
And everyone's gonna want one. It's not like something that you've seen before.
Is it intimidating or anything like that?
It can be. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely can be. I mean, it can be for sure. It's a little beast, but it's also something that you can just bring to work, Hell yeah. And it's super, functionality over everything, and
So how many people do you have on staff now? Since you started with just you and your brother in the garage, and then you went to a core 5, right? And now 2 facilities.
Like on hand, I think people that work here is like 22 or 23. Okay. Between the 2 buildings. And then we have some contractors that we work with for some engineering that we just can't do in-house. Usually it's just engineering that we can't do in-house. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then we have some some supply people in our supply chain that are like very close to us, who are practically our employees that are like in our internal networks and things like that. Nice. So if you count everybody, it's probably like upper 20s.
Yeah. And then we're in-house, we're looking for another 6 to 10 kind of across the whole business.
So is there anything you guys want to share about the business and maybe the future of the business?
That's a great question. I feel as though what Shy Battery, like the essence of my company is bringing more utility to the vehicles or the products that you already own. Okay. And that kind of hints at the fact that we're not only interested in just working on like PEVs. Mm-hmm. I mean, quite honestly, if there's a market for a vacuum cleaner, and you say, hey, well, this thing only runs me like a half hour. It's like, well, okay, if there's something that we can help with that, then we want to be involved. Oh, we work with a pretty well-known robotics company too. We're kind of in a transition of still working with PEVs, but also trying to transition as a battery manufacturer. Okay. And I think that's what makes it a little bit difficult for people. Sometimes I'm on online and I read what people have to say. Yeah. And that can be good or bad for you, I guess. But
depends on who you are.
It depends on what group you're on, I guess. We're in the communities that people love us. People love us, and then there's some communities where we're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You clearly think you know more than us, and maybe you do. But it's difficult to like show people that we're not just like a garage shop. And we're not just like one guy making batteries, Yeah. And I think us staying in the DIY kind of community and like staying in like smaller niches makes it hard to kind of exemplify that, because you're like, oh, you're just like the guy next door that like makes batteries for my Onyx or something like that, So that's always challenging, because you get kind of judged as a business like on different scales, Like it's kind of like the Amazon thing we were talking about. Yeah. People judge you like you're a really small business, so sometimes they expect like the world of you, and they're like, "What do you mean? I just bought a battery from you. Like, I expect it to be in stock and shipped tomorrow. Like, you can't have 50, you can't have 200 of these batteries on order this week. You know what I mean? It's not. They don't think that. Yeah. And that's where it's kind of hard to navigate for us. So our solution is, well, let's just go up an industry notch. Hopefully. But if anyone's looking for a job, apply within. We're always hiring. I don't think there's been a point in my company's history where we haven't been hiring.
Dude, like
very
every single staff member that I've walked across has been nice. Everyone's got a smile on their face. So, I mean, you're doing it right, man. Brandon was showing me all the machines. I'm like, dude, I've never even seen this before. I didn't even know that was, you could own that machine, a sticker machine. Yeah. It's like, and then this right here tests like all the cells. Just, it'll give away the bad ones. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like you got like everything that any company would dream of, and you've done it in 2.5 years.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the first 2 years, or the first like year and a half, was so heavy on equipment, and now we kind of just like buy machines that I think are cool and things that like can like push us forward in like smaller markets. Yeah. But like every. Do you remember how often we'd get like massive crates in and be like, oh yeah, that machine came in, and we'd just spend the whole day, and we'd have build days, and it was a lot of fun. And now I think it's slowed down a little bit. We get a little bit more like vanity machines, like we have a sandblaster. Now, it's like it's not like that really particularly helps push our business forward 100%. But we are starting to move into like metal enclosures for the surround world. So we're trying to. Right now, our batteries are wrapped with this really, really abrasion-resistant rubber. I mean, literally, yesterday I took it. I was like, I want to see how abrasion-resistant these things are. I took it to the sandblaster, and I cannot, as long as I stay in front of that sandblaster at 150 psi, get it to like penetrate through the rubber coating. Yeah, it's super, super durable. But what's more durable than that is steel. Yeah. Right, powder-coated steel. It's going to be more durable than that even more. So we're moving forward into actual like steel enclosures with a nice injection molded top with this display that you've never seen before on a Suron. We got pulled a custom mold for them, and it tells you everything the battery has to offer like right on that display. It's crazy. And it's gonna be groundbreaking, and it's one of those things that we're really proud of. And that's kind of the solutions we're looking for. And to do that, a lot of other companies might just say, hey, I'm just going to go to a metal fab company local to me and just ask them for these enclosures and powder coat it. Yeah. But we're a little different. I'm like, you know what? That's an easy way to do it, because that's just a CAT drawing and then a requirement. I'm going to buy the welder. I'm going to buy everything. The big laser. Yeah. I'm going to buy the raw material. I'm going to buy the powder coater. I'm going to buy the sandblaster. And I'm going to buy the oven for the powder coater. And I'm going to do everything myself, so I have full control over it. And I think that was 100% the reason that we made it through like the worst of the supply chain in the pandemic, and I honestly didn't really feel it that much. I think we just made it. I think a lot of it is kind of just a mindset. It's like, wow, if you feel like you're in a pandemic or a recession, then you're going to be in a pandemic or a recession, right?
What's the quote they say? If there's a will, there is a way.
Oh yeah.
And you fuck.
Yeah, I was like, if something's going on in the world, we're doing just fine.
I had an awesome interview with Chai Batteries. You guys are looking for a battery? I would definitely buy it from Chai. I was really stoked to hear that their customer service and their community are #1 for their industry, and that's why they've succeeded. Check out our Chai Battery affiliate link underneath in the comments, description, the bio, whatever the hell that is. But thanks for watching this week's episode on the Electric Road Show, and I'll see you next week.